Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have an encore appearance by Stephen Porter. Now, Steve is the owner of Stillwater Books down in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Not that far. How far now, Steve, from here?
Oh, it was only about 40 minutes.
Okay, 40 minutes. He is also the president of the Association of Rhode Island Authors, and we've had many authors from his group on here. Terrific, all of them. He's also the publisher of Stillwater River Publishing, right? Stillwater Publishers. So he's got a lot on his plate, and besides that, you're an author too.
Yes, I do right.
So he's been here with his own books. He owns his own bookstore. Do you have time to sleep?
No.
No. He's also wearing a tie today with blog. Did you
like
wear
the
that the
books?
last
Yes.
time with all the books on it?
I try to, every time I do some kind of book event, I try to wear a book tie or a book pin or something.
Are they getting you on television and radio down there in Rhode Island?
Occasionally, we have our success.
They should. Steve, when did you start your bookstore, the Stillwater Books? When did
Well,
you
we opened Stillwater Books on March 1st.
Of which year?
Just this past
Of
year.
2018,
Yeah,
okay.
just this past year. To great fanfare. We're the first independent bookstore that the city of Pawtucket has had in 25 years. So they were very excited when we announced we were going to open downtown. Yeah. And really, the bookstore itself, when you come in, it has a few missions. It's full service, just like you'll find in any Barnes & Noble or independent store around, with new book releases and bestsellers. Yeah. We also have thousands of off-price, remaindered, and used books. But really what sets us apart is we have about 350 titles represented in the store from local authors that you won't find anywhere else.
I love that. We've met a fraction, because Steve has told me that this book group, this Association of Rhode Island Authors, how many members are in it now?
We're right now at 325.
That's a lot. And they're from all over Rhode Island? Are there any from Massachusetts?
There are a few from Massachusetts, a few from Connecticut. We decided that when we set up our membership that Rhode Island is very small, and so if people live just kind of on the outskirts of the state, that's fine. Yeah. And also if they have a connection to the state in some way, maybe they were born in Rhode Island or educated in Rhode Island or have some property or live maybe seasonally in the state, that they could certainly be part of the membership.
Now, Pat Hanley, I don't know if you remember, she lives over in, is it Barrington? Over on the side, and I think she's a member of the group. And she wrote there's another great book she's got coming out too. I mean, I hear so many of them coming on, and then the names just boom, 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 boom. It's just, how would they reach you if they would like to join your group?
Best way is through the internet.
Okay.
RIAuthors.org will connect you to the Association of Rhode Island Authors, and you can download an application or ask questions, whatever you need.
Is there a fee per year?
Just $35.
That's not bad. If you're an author, come on, you can afford that.
I know. And that gets you access to all our events, and we're an extremely active group where the association has events going on literally every week somewhere.
There's a big one coming up, I was told, isn't it?
Well, our biggest event of the year is on December 1st.
Okay, that's the one.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That's at Rhodes on the Patuxent in Cranston. If anyone's from Rhode Island, you know Rhodes on the Patuxent well. Yeah. It's a big function hall, historic hall right on the Patuxent River in the village in Cranston.
It's in Cranston, okay.
And we'll have 135 authors present signing and selling books that day.
All genres.
All genres, from kids to history to fiction to romance to you name it. We'll have presentations and panels and workshops and things going on throughout the day, and as well as raffles and Santa Claus and some children's events this year to get the kids involved.
Oh, Santa will be there too.
Be a lot of fun.
Have you heard of the every year? I'm sure you've heard of it. The New England Authors Expo up in Danversport.
Yes.
Every July. I've sent authors up there. That's in this huge ballroom up at the Yacht Club. Have you been there at all?
Yes, I've attended a few times.
What'd you think?
That's a very nice event. It's a great event to get. It's rare that independent authors get to meet each other from other parts of New England. So for that reason alone, it's a terrific event.
Yeah.
Writing is such a solitary thing. You're trapped in your basement, your garage, wherever you do your writing for sometimes years.
Yeah.
And then you have to emerge and be sociable and promote and talk to people. So events like the New England Author Expo are terrific.
And yours coming up. The authors have their own tables. They rent their own table for the setup. I always tell my authors, I say, look, don't go alone. Have someone come with you, so not just so that you can go to the John, but so that you can get up and mingle, get some business cards from the other authors, because all it takes is one author who knows someone who would like you to appear somewhere.
That's probably the biggest complaint we get from the authors who participate is that they can't see the show because they are the show.
You need another person with you.
And they want to go see the presentations and they want to go participate in some of the workshops, but they're at their table selling books all day. And it's a very busy day. We have a lot of people that come.
And also, like on your table, well, I had one gal, she was a children's author, very sweet, but she didn't realize that you got to have an eye catcher on your table. I don't care if you make it was a child's book, make a blow-up thing for children. Get their attention. As she just sat there with her wine, and I'm like, that's not going to bring in your customer. You don't look happy to begin with. You got to do something.
Well, for a fledgling author, if you're thinking about being a writer and self-publishing or traditionally publishing, and you want to know how to do it, this is a great event because you can come and get 135 different opinions on how to set up a display and do a signing. And everybody does it a little differently. Everybody's got their own little...
You're going to have your table, right?
I'll have a table there, absolutely.
Now, it's December 1st.
December 1st.
At what time to what time?
10 a.m. to 5 p.m., so an all-day thing.
Again, at where now?
Rhodes on the Patuxent.
Roads, just like driving a road.
R-H-O-D-E-S.
Oh, okay. Roads on the Patuxent.
Up in Cranston.
To me, I would think it would be in Pawtucket when it says a Patuxent in Cranston. Now, is it accessible? Is it near, not 146? Where's it the nearest?
I guess if you take 95 to Route 10, it's just off Route 10, and just south of the city of Providence.
From here to there, how long do you think?
Oh, maybe 45 minutes.
That less to Cranston?
45, maybe 50, yeah.
So it's about the same amount of time as it does for us to get to Providence.
About 10, maybe about 5 minutes past Providence.
Well, that's not bad. I viewed it as an hour and a half or something.
No, not that far.
All right, now Steve has been on our show before, and he has his own books that he has written. And I want to tell you about another one too. But I remember this Menissus. What was Menissus about?
That was about what Menissus, the title means, is Island of the Little God.
Yeah.
And it's the word that the Narragansett tribe in southern Rhode Island used to describe Block Island. So the island of Manassas. And I wrote the novel based on all the legends and history and things that were happening on the island.
Yeah.
And then created a fictional family who goes to this fictional island. And a lot of the history and the adventures and the legends that happened on the island play into the story.
A rollicking adventure told through 1,000 years of history. That's a lot. Where you'll meet a brave native maiden, a demure pirate, prohibition rum runners, a vengeful witch, and many others, all connected through time by an inconspicuous pile of rocks. Where did you get the idea for that?
Well, many, many years ago, very briefly, maybe I tried my hand at being a journalist and
I bet you'd be good at it, though.
I was terrible.
No?
I didn't like it. I was an awful reporter. But my beat for one winter was Block Island.
Oh, cool.
And it's cool in the summer.
Did you take the Block Island ferry?
Oh, yeah, you take the ship. But when you go over in the dead of January and February, not a lot going on Block Island in the winter. So I had to really dig to find stories and things to write about. And I learned at that time a lot about the history and the legends of the island. Yeah. And that started playing in your mind as a writer, and eventually it came out as a book.
Now, this came out 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
About 4
years ago. Okay. But your first one that I remember wasn't it this one's Confessions of the Meek and the Valiant?
That was my first novel.
That was your first one. What was this one about?
That is more your quintessential South Boston crime thriller.
Yeah. And
it takes place right about the time that the Winter Hill Gang, the old Whitey Bulger.
Oh, Whitey Bulger.
And all those folks have been arrested, and it's been broken up, but the effects of the crime still remain. And this young man who... you'll absolutely love him right from the start when you start reading about him, is sent off to New York to go to school, and some of those old-time, mob connections start to help him along while he's there.
He's a Catholic kid from Southie.
And you suddenly start to learn about his family's connections.
Did you grow up there?
No. I grew up in Rhode Island. And
what part of Rhode Island were you from?
A town called West Greenwich is where I grew up.
I know West Greenwich. I think my brother and his children used to live in that area, East or West Greenwich. I remember that. I remember that quite. So this one was about 5 years, 6 years ago?
Going back 7, yeah, it's been
7.
a while, yeah.
Now, I think my all-time favorite was one that Steve, well, you co-wrote.
Right.
Do It Anyway. This is Scared to Death, Do It Anyway. This is a true story about a man who had panic attacks big time. Everything from tunnels and elevators to crowds, you name it. And you helped walk him through it, didn't you, though, kind of?
Well, we helped him walk him through the writing process.
Yeah.
Brian had an incredible story to tell, but Brian was not a writer. And he had started and stopped to tell his story. Brian was afflicted with panic attacks and anxiety attacks, really to the level of agoraphobia, which is essentially fear of everything. So whether you're in a tight space or a crowd or traffic or heights, everything gave him anxiety and panic attacks. But he's not that typical 98-pound weakling you think, just afraid of everything.
No, there's a picture of him here.
Yeah, he was a professional bodybuilder, weightlifter.
Yeah.
And how do you tell all the guys you're hanging out at the gym with and lifting weights and, being the tough guy that you're afraid to cross the street, you're going to have a panic attack? Yeah. So he lived with this his entire life and needed a way to tell the story about what he went through and how he overcame it. Right. And he came looking for a writer to help him do that.
And that was you.
I was lucky enough to get the...
Were you friends beforehand?
No, I didn't know him
He
before.
just met you at the store?
One of his business partners had read Confessions of the Meek and the Valiant.
Yeah.
And said, this is the kind of writer we need. And they tracked me down.
This is an amazing story because, I can relate. I went through a stage where, I'm not too crazy about elevators now. Because when I was a little girl, my father and I got trapped in one in New York City on a Saturday. And at that point, they weren't open, that building. I don't know what store he was going to. We got trapped in one, alone. And if it hadn't been for the janitor, we might have been there all weekend. I don't know what was going through my father's head, but he kept his cool with me. Let me tell you, I don't think I ever got over that. Bridges? What's that one you got over the Newport Bridge? Oh, it seems like it's just never ending. And it seems like you're going to go over the edge. I hate that. See, what else? This guy and I had some things in common. So when I read it, if you've had any kind of panic attacks or anything, no matter how small it may seem to you, it is a horrible feeling.
It's horrible, and Brian's were worse.
Yeah.
Because he had to, every day he would structure his day and build it around the panic that he was going to have during that day.
Yeah.
Depending what he was doing, whether he was driving to a business meeting or, having to maybe go on a trip. And there's a story in there which is it's very funny in a way when he talks about his wedding.
Yeah.
And you talk about anxiety anyway when you're getting married.
Yeah.
The families are coming in, and he was sure he was going to die, standing at the altar, just pass out and have a heart attack on the spot.
Yeah.
And then the added anxiety of then knowing I've got to get on a plane in 48 hours and fly somewhere. Yeah. And that almost killed him. And then.
That wouldn't thrill me either.
Then finally relax to get to your honeymoon destination, and you start to unwind and start to enjoy yourself.
Go back.
But you realize, I got to go back.
Yeah.
And another panic attack comes on, and that's how he lived every day of his life.
When he was kind of dictating you were helping him write the story, could you feel any of what he was feeling when he was describing it?
Oh, absolutely. He's a very genuine person.
That thing when he got caught on the bridge in traffic, he had to get out of his car. He couldn't take it anymore, remember? And didn't one of the cops come up to him and say, "Are you all right, sir? You can't park there?"
Yeah, well, he's heading to a business meeting. It's the middle of the summer. He's in the full suit. He's just starting out his business career.
Yeah.
He's terrified of traffic, terrified of heights, terrified of bridges, and of course, that's the day his car breaks down on the top of a bridge on the New Jersey Turnpike. Yeah. And he just can't stand it. And he gets out of the car and just starts running through traffic until a police officer sees him. And say, what are you doing? And he tries to talk himself out of it so he doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
It's just, I broke down, looking for help.
Yeah.
And the officer is kind of stern and says, you're not allowed to abandon your vehicle on the New Jersey Turnpike, and takes him back to the top of the bridge. And it's a pivotal point in the book, because at that moment he has to decide, do I run again? Or do I jump? And just get it over with.
Yep.
That's how serious that panic and that fear was within him.
How many years did that last, do you think? That he went through
It
that.
was his entire life. I mean, he talks about it growing up with it. He calls it the thing.
Yeah, I noticed it was. Does he still have some remnants of it?
It absolutely to this day. And a lot of what the book talks about is how he learned to overcome it.
Yeah.
And now he goes on speaking to us, and he'll speak before groups,
He will.
and he'll look like the nicest, friendliest, most relaxed guy you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the first thing he'll tell you is, "I'm having a panic attack right now,
Yeah.
but I've learned to understand what it is,
How to cope with it.
how to cope with it, and I'm going to show you the tools that I use to overcome it, so that it's not debilitating."
One thing people need to remember is, I remember when I went through something like that, a counselor, somebody said to me, "Let go." I was so busy holding on to it, it didn't even occur to me, let it go. It's not going to kill you. It's ride it out, and you'll get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to feel horrible in the interim, but as you go on, you learn that it's not going to kill me. Really, I think that's the worst. I think when anybody goes over a bridge, and let's just say there's traffic, and you get stuck on the top part, right in the middle.
Right.
You're like, what if this thing goes down?
Why me? Why now?
I'm going down.
You're thinking the worst. Yep.
Oh
yep.
no! Did he get over his fear of planes?
He still flies, yeah. I mean,
does.
he never got over it as much as he now has the ability to cope with it and understand it and deal with it, and it doesn't debilitate him anymore.
He is giving. Afterwards, we're going to find. I've got to have him. Would he come on the show and share this with us?
Very, very well, yeah.
Okay.
I can certainly get a message out to him.
This is very common. A lot of people keep it to themselves, and it's no shame at all. Lots of people have it. Panic disorder. It's very common.
But it's humiliating when when he talks about being a boy and around his friends and having a blast, and they say, "Hey, let's go do the sleepover."
Yeah.
But he can't handle the dark.
Yeah.
He can't handle being outside his safe place.
Did he ever trace back as to what caused it? It was just a chemical imbalance type of thing.
He talks in the book a little. We talk a little bit about the medical issues and but there was never a definitive answer as to why.
Yeah, I think what I have read, there's a possibility it runs in families. I think my dad went through a very brief period where he would get hyper sitting in a barber's chair. He would feel trapped in a barber's chair. Now, I'd never heard of that one.
No, I haven't heard of that either. But I think that's a valid point, that it probably did come through his family. But again, that stigma and that embarrassment. Yeah. And, he talks a little bit there about his father, and he's very proud of his dad. He's this strong, directed kind of guy. Yeah. He's not going to admit having panic attacks. He's going to hide it and bury it.
Definitely. I think mostly guys, I think men hide it more, you think? Because girls will open up to me about it.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that men have that social need to be to be strong and independent.
We are talking with Stephen Porter. He's here for his encore appearance, and this is your third or fourth time with us, isn't it?
At least.
Oh my
third,
gosh!
Yeah.
He is the owner of Stillwater Brooks, and that is in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. President of the Association of Rhode Island Authors, and we've had many of the authors, and still not all of them that are in that group. And he runs the publisher, Stillwater River Publishing. So if let's say you're an author and you want to get it published, if you don't feel like using CreateSpace, how can they contact you?
Easy enough. You can go to any of our websites. We have several now, but Stillwater River Publications is the best, which is stillwaterpress.com. And shoot us an email. Mm-hmm. We work with authors now from all over the country.
There you go.
Started out with just a few Rhode Islanders and local folks that we knew. Yeah. But now we have clients from Wisconsin to Florida to Maine.
There you go.
And we've done about 150 books in the last 4 years.
Are you working on a new book by any chance? When do you find the time?
I don't. It's a miserable existence.
Yeah.
Where I've got personally 3 books in that have started.
So you're multitasking.
And I'm also I was just contracted to do another ghostwriting project.
Yeah.
For a woman who the story is essentially an amazing story. She was escaped Laos during the war.
Yeah.
Her father was a member of the military, was captured and sent away to die in a prison camp.
Yeah.
Where he was tortured and to be starved to death. And her mother, who was completely illiterate, managed to fool the authorities into thinking they were tourists and got them on a tourist boat and escaped from Laos.
How did she find
got them
you?
to the United States.
How did she locate you as a ghostwriter?
As a ghostwriter through the various writing groups and connections.
And they
yeah.
could let her know.
And the best part of the story is, as she grew up years later, there was a knock on the door one day, and her father had returned here in the United States, and he had spent all those years trying to find them because they changed their name and lied about their.
Did they ever find him?
And then his whole story of escaping prison to come, and his journey.
Did they get
from
together in the end?
And in the end, they get together. Yeah.
So you're going to be able to
Great story.
ghostwrite that.
So we're working on that now.
Aha, when would that be coming out?
Oh, it's too early to tell, but I would say probably next summer.
Next summer? That's not too bad. That's not bad at all. And you got 3 things going. You got that. What's the other 2?
Well, the other 2 are the books I'm writing myself, which
Yeah.
includes a kind of a dystopian science fiction novel,
Oh,
which is
okay.
somewhat stalled right now just for lack of time, and
Yeah.
also working on a kids book,
Yeah.
kind of
A kid's book?
middle reader
Yeah.
on baseball.
Baseball. All right. There is an author. We had him on. I'm not sure he's a member of ARIA. He wrote about, was it a Rhode Island hero? Baseball hero? Oh, gosh, he was just so sure. I can't think of it.
I'll take a guess and say it was probably Greg Rubano
Yes, Greg Rubano.
who wrote about Napoleon LaJoy.
Yeah, and Greg was just at the Springfield, every year they have the big
Yes.
expo. He was just over there. That was
And
fascinating.
that's a book that I published, that Dawn and I published.
Yeah, he was a great guest. He did really good. Now, if somebody wanted to, what advice would you give to somebody who's interested in writing? God, Lord, you've been there and back again. What would you tell them? What the first where to stop? They're thinking, well, I don't understand CreateSpace. It's too much for me. I haven't got a lot of money. What do you do?
You can easily, there are ways around, the technology exists now that you can write, upload, and produce a book, fairly inexpensively and fairly
Which is like
quickly.
per book, how much is it?
Well, honestly, the self-publishing process, if you do it yourself,
Yeah.
completely do it yourself, is free. There is no cost.
Online?
Yeah.
How can they do that?
If you know how to design your cover, if you know how to set up your interior,
But how do you'd
and you
have
know how to upload your files, there is no charge. But the problem is most people don't know how to do those things. So you have to hire a cover designer. You have to hire someone to set up your interior files for you.
Yeah.
And then but all that stuff is very easy and doable.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the mistake most authors make is at that point now they've got a box full of books in their lap. Now what?
You got to get out there.
And
Yeah.
authors will tell me right away, I just want to write. I don't want to do all that marketing and promotional stuff. And it's like, well, that's where you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because there are,
Totally.
literally millions of books on Amazon.com, and you're just one of them.
Yep.
And so if there's no reason for me to go look for your book or look up your name, we're not going to find you.
Nothing beats face to face. That's what I tell my authors. Get out there, get noticed.
Exactly. And even if you're not that personable type,
Yeah.
it's okay because you can do the social media thing. You can get on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram
Sure.
and all the rest,
Yeah.
and use that as your method. You never have to get out of your pajamas, and you can market your book all day long.
Yep.
So based on your personality, you can choose how you want to promote, and that's really where most of these authors fail in the long run.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And also, like I was mentioning at an expo, they just sit there with this on their face. You've got to schmooze with this person who stops at your booth. That shows an interest, even if they don't buy the book.
Right.
Show an interest in them. Because all it takes is one person to get the word out. Definitely. You know that. And you've had a number of authors now come over to your store, Stillwater Books. And do they have to, book about a month in advance, 2 months? What do you think?
Well, at least 2 months is a good number.
A couple months.
Yeah, because you want to give it enough time to promote it, let the world know it's happening.
Would they reach you, Steve, the same way as they do online for the? Okay, they would reach you the same way.
Through Stillwater Press. We all have StillwaterBooksRI.com as well. But it's very hard. It's very hard either by Googling my name or Stillwater.
Yeah.
We'll come right up. So it's easy. We're
Have
easy
you
to
been
find.
up here to Westboro to Tatnut Books at all?
I did a signing at Tatnut Books
Okay.
a few years ago. It's a great store.
It is. Now, you were mentioning there's 2 kinds of authors, the ones who don't mind getting up there and speaking, and the ones who are like, oh my God, no. At Tatnut, what they do is if you're shy, I say, no worries. You don't have to go to the big room in the back. They'll set up a table for you not far from the checkout counter, and you can sit there. And I pass by them, and people will come up and say hello and maybe buy your book. So it's a nice way to start if you're shy.
Sure, it's great. Anything you can do.
Yeah.
And there's a presentation I've done for some writing and publishing groups out there about why you should do book signings. And the top 10 reasons why you should do book signings. And number 11 is sell books.
Yes.
Because 1 through 10 is all about marketing and getting photographs and learning how bookstores work and working with staff and understanding what the public is looking for.
Right.
All those things are just as important, if not more than important, than the final sale.
I noticed that a lot of the authors that I've dealt with, they'll write maybe a self-help book or something else, and I'll say, have you thought, not just libraries, in the bookstores, but have you thought about the senior centers?
Oh, yeah.
So they went, well, I don't know if anybody be interested. I said, I can guarantee you they're going to be interested in your book. Because if it's something they can really relate to, especially like a health issue maybe, anything, I'm like, don't pass them up, ever. Because senior centers are usually very open-minded to having people come in and talk about their book.
And I can say that a lot of the authors we work with, and I know a lot of the authors who've been on here on your program, are elderly.
Yes, they are.
And there isn't somewhat of a feeling or a need at a certain age, and I guess it hits us all at a different age, that we want to put kind of our story out there, kind of that legacy thing. And there's no better place than a senior center or a retirement home where you've kind of got the crowd that's open to the message that you're trying to get to them.
I know Pat Hinckley, and she wrote the book Sleep.
Chasing Sleep.
Chasing Sleep. And I've helped get her out there. And she's got another one coming up, and she'll be on the show very shortly. But, I helped her, think outside. Let's get to some of it, because how many seniors, and then the rest of us, have problems getting to sleep or staying asleep. I mean, this is pretty universal.
Yeah.
Don't forget them, because really, that was great. That was a really good. We've got about 3 minutes left.
Oh, sure.
Steve, again, how can they reach you?
Probably the best way to get in touch is through our websites, stillwaterbooksri.com, stillwaterpress.com, or if you're looking to join the association or hear about the expo, you can come to riauthors.com.
Now, what's the cutoff that they can sign up to be on your expo?
Well, to participate in the expo right now, our authors are already full. We've filled all the tables. You can join our wait list and keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But last year we had 1,400 readers came, and it was a full house, and we had a blast. So whether you love to read books, or you're a writer just looking for your own way, you got to come to this thing. You really do.
And let me see. So it's on. I wrote it down here. It's on Roads on the Pawtucket. And what street is it on in Cranston?
It's One Roads Place in Cranston.
Okay, One Roads Place. Okay, in Cranston.
Yeah. For the local folks, it's iconic. Everybody knows where it is.
So if I got to Pawtucket, they would know where that was.
If you got the Cranston, anywhere in Rhode Island, everybody knows where it is.
They're going to show you where to go. All right. And it's from what to what now?
It's on Saturday, December 1st, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's a good long time.
Admission is free, so there's no cover charge.
That's really good. Okay, so if you're an author and you want to go, you're a bit on a wait list right now, okay? Do you have anything else coming up?
Well, we do lots of small events throughout the year. For example, this weekend we'll be at the Scituate Art Festival. We're bringing about 30, 40 authors to the art festival, and that's a big festival in Rhode Island, as well as Autumn Fest in Woonsocket. And we'll be making an appearance at the Boston Book Festival on October 13th.
October 13th. That's coming up really quick.
On Boylston Street, and we're doing book signings there all day long.
You're going to be there?
I'll be there, yeah.
Now, does Don watch the store while you go up to the books?
Sometimes.
Who watches the store?
Well, we do have a small staff.
Oh, okay.
So they do let us out once
They
in a
let
while.
you out once in a while. All righty. Well, good. Steve, I assume that the next time you're on, you're going to have a book.
Gosh, I hope so.
You better have another book.
I spend all day reading other people's manuscripts, so I got to get back to
Are you
work.
going to be bringing these downstairs for our library? We have a dedicated author's wall.
Oh,
down
okay, I
there.
can do that, sure.
Oh.
Though a couple of them might already be there, I'm not sure.
You might find that.
Yeah.
You might. All right. Well, this has been great. Now we're going to expect to have Steve back when he gets his next book done, or when you've got some more occasions coming up. Don't be shy. Keep sending them to us.
We'll be on the list.
We love
absolutely.
to have them. We'll see you next time. I'll be my guest.